today we're going to dive into something a little different. We're still in the world of rolling,
right?
But we're not talking about just like the how-to. We're going a little deeper than that.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about like the why, the vibes. The self-expression that goes into creating like your perfect session.
Okay.
And our guide for this is Drody, who's the host of this podcast called The Chronic Session. And he's got some really, I'm going to say, unique takes on how rolling is kind of a reflection of your personality.
Interesting.
Almost like your signature,
That is fascinating how something like rolling can be so personal.
Right.
Like you see this in so many areas of life, like just how people dress the music they listen to, how they decorate their space. It's all about projecting who we are.
Yeah. And Drody like takes that idea and runs with it.
Okay.
So he breaks down rolling personalities into 4 types.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm a little skeptical, but also like super intrigued.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the first one.
Sure.
The aesthetic roller. So he describes this person as like meticulous, detail-oriented, like their setup is probably as organized as their spice rack.
Wow.
And I'm just picturing like perfectly aligned rolling papers and a tray that sparkles,
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that attention to detail like carries over into other parts of their life. Like maybe they're the type of person who like color codes their closet or has a spreadsheet for their grocery list. There's definitely like a connection between how we approach one task and how we approach others.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is kind of the polar opposite.
Okay.
This is the quick hit specialist.
Right.
These are the people where like efficiency is the name of the game, like
Makes sense.
grabbing the closest later papers are maybe a little crumpled.
Sure.
But they get the job done fast.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they're the same way with like
Right.
nuking ramen instead of like whipping up a gourmet meal.
It's interesting to consider how this ties into obsession with like instant gratification. Like we're constantly bombarded with information, and maybe the quick hit specialist is just wired for like a world that moves at warp speed.
I feel that I'm definitely guilty of wanting things ASAP sometimes.
For sure.
All right, so moving on.
Sure.
The social roller.
Okay. The social roller.
This is the person who like thrives on sharing the experience.
Yeah.
Always down to roll for the group, maybe even turning it into a whole performance.
Right. This is where the music choice probably gets really important.
Oh, yeah.
I bet the social roller is curating a playlist.
Right.
Setting the mood for everyone.
Right.
Maybe some upbeat reggae or classic hip hop, something with like a communal vibe.
Totally. And you can almost picture them like handing out perfectly rolled.
Right.
Well, whatever they rolled.
Of course.
While everyone's chatting and laughing. Okay, so the last type, the solo viber. This one like intrigues me.
All right.
They're all about creating this like personalized, almost ritualistic experience.
That makes me think about the rise of like self-care routines and how we're all craving these moments of like quiet intention.
Oh, yeah.
The solo viber might have their favorite candle, a specific spot on the couch, maybe even like a meditation app playing softly in the background.
Right.
It's all about curating that perfect atmosphere just for themselves.
I'm starting to think Drody might be onto something with these personality types.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets even more interesting because he connects each type to vibespapers.
Okay.
So like he says the ultra thin papers are ideal for like slow, flavorful burns.
Right.
Which I could see both the aesthetic roller and the solo viber appreciating.
Yeah.
For very different reasons. Like the aesthetic rollers might love the precision of those thin papers, how it allows for like perfectly even burn.
Right.
While the solo viber might be more drawn to the way that those papers enhance the subtle flavors of their chosen material. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about tailoring the experience to your specific preferences, right?
Exactly.
Okay, then you've got the hemp papers,
Hemp papers.
which Drody describes as having an earthy vibe.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that really does them justice, though. It's more like,
Yeah.
imagine like the smell of a forest after a rainstorm,
Oh, wow.
That fresh, almost sweet scent, but mingling with like the earthy undertones. That's what hemp papers bring to the table.
Interesting. And I wonder if the material itself like plays a role in the appeal.
Oh, yeah.
Like hemp being a more sustainable option
Yeah.
might resonate with social roller,
Right.
who we already imagine being attuned to like creating a positive vibe for the whole group.
Okay, next are the rice papers.
Rice papers, okay.
So Drody highlights their like slow, long-lasting burn, and I can see this playing out in a couple different ways. Social roller might use them for like a longer group session where the conversation is flowing.
Consciously slowing down.
Yeah.
Savoring the experience.
Yeah.
Whether you're sharing it with others or enjoying like a moment of solitude.
And then, of course, you've got the king-size papers, which Drody simply describes as for when you got to do it big.
I love that.
It's a playful acknowledgement that, like, sometimes you just need to go all out.
Totally.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or just want to, like, enjoy a more abundant experience, you know?
Right.
And I can totally see a group of friends passing around a king-size creation, laughing, telling stories.
For sure.
And then for the quick hit specialist,
Yes.
Drody recommends the Cali cones.
Okay.
No rolling skills required, just fill and go.
Which makes perfect sense for someone who values like efficiency and ease of use.
Right.
It's like the pre-rolled coffee of the rolling world. Perfect for those mornings. You need like a quick boost before tackling the day.
Okay, so I'm actually impressed with how he's like connecting these personality types to specific products.
Yeah.
But he doesn't stop there. He takes this whole self-expression thing a step further and starts talking about the entire like rolling experience.
Oh, wow. So he's talking about like creating a whole vibe around your session.
Yeah, he's talking about elements like music lighting energy, basically like creating a whole vibe around your session.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and you know, I've always been a like music is essential kind of person,
Sure.
but I never really thought about it as like intentionally shaping the vibe.
Yeah.
Like maybe I subconsciously gravitate toward like chill hop for solo sessions and then something more upbeat when I'm with friends.
It's like setting the stage for a performance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Each element contributes to the overall atmosphere and influences how you experience the moment.
Yeah, and it's making me think about all those times that I've just instinctively put on a certain playlist while rolling without really thinking about why I was drawn to it.
Right.
Now I'm realizing it was probably my subconscious way of setting the mood, of aligning my internal state with the experience I wanted to have.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Like we often make these like intuitive choices without fully realizing like the deeper motivations behind them.
Yeah.
But by bringing awareness to those choices, we can start to curate our experiences with even more intentionality.
That's a really good point. Okay, so Drody also talks about the importance of lighting.
Laying.
It's all about dimming the lights or using candles
Okay.
to create a softer, more intimate atmosphere.
Makes sense.
And honestly, I can't argue with that. It's amazing how much of a difference lighting can make.
It's like the difference between going to a concert in a brightly lit stadium versus a cozy jazz club, you know?
Yeah.
The lighting sets the tone. It influences how you perceive the music, how you interact with the people around you. Same principle applies to creating a vibe for a rolling session.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed that when I dim the lights, it's like everything slows down.
Oh, yeah.
It's easier to like relax, to get out of my head and just be present in the moment.
Exactly. Softer lighting encourages a sense of intimacy, whether you're alone or with a small group.
Yeah.
It invites you to focus on those sensory details, you know, the subtle aromas,
Right.
the warmth of the candlelight. It's almost like creating a sacred space,
Yeah.
a sanctuary. Exactly. And by engaging in these rituals, we're not just enhancing our own experience. You know, we're also tapping into something really ancient and universal. Humans have been creating rituals around all sorts of activities for centuries, you know, from cooking and eating to making music and dancing.
It's fascinating to think about how something as seemingly modern as rolling can connect us to these like ancient traditions.
It speaks to our innate need for connection, you know, connection to ourselves, to others, and to something bigger than ourselves.
This whole conversation has been such a mind opener for me. I've always enjoyed rolling, but I never really thought about it in this way. It's like Drody has given us this new lens through which to view this experience.
Even a touch of ritual, you know.
So if we can create a mindful ritual around rolling, why not around other things that we enjoy?
Right.
Maybe it's our morning coffee routine. Or the way we wind down in the evening. It's about finding those little pockets of time where we can slow down, connect with ourselves, and savor those simple pleasures.
It's about reclaiming those moments and making them our own.
I love that. Well, hey, thanks for listening to this deep dive into rolling and vibes and mindfulness and rituals and all that good stuff. I hope you learned something new and maybe got inspired to create your own little pockets of intention in your daily life. And hey, if you're enjoying these deep dives, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And until next time, peace out.